Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into the very foundation of how our modern world operates. We're going to be pulling apart this brief, but honestly incredibly powerful piece of source material, Principles of Commerce, Ethics for Young Leaders. It sounds like a pretty simple title, right? But when you really look at those words, it kind of holds a mirror up to the entire future of our global economy. We're going to deconstruct exactly what this text means for the business world, and more importantly, what it means for you.
Okay, let's dive into this. Who shapes the future of business? I mean, it's so easy to immediately picture a boardroom full of seasoned executives or, Wall Street veterans, right? But our source material completely flips that assumption on its head. It suggests that the true power, the actual architectural control over the future of commerce, well, it doesn't actually lie with those currently at the top of the ladder. No way. It lies with those who are just stepping up to the starting line. It's a really profound thought, and it perfectly sets the stage for everything we're going to unpack today.
Section 1. The Principles of Commerce.
Let's quickly define our terms here so we're all starting on the exact same page. Commerce, the large-scale exchange of goods, services, or ideas. Now, it is absolutely crucial to realize that commerce is much, much more than just the simple act of buying a coffee or selling a physical product. It's like this massive, interconnected web. It's the exchange of human capital, of groundbreaking ideas, of the essential services that literally keep our societies functioning. It's the core engine of human interaction on a global scale.
And that builds perfectly into this concept of principles. These are fundamental truths that serve as the foundation for a system of behavior. So if commerce is that massive engine we just talked about, principles are the invisible tracks guiding where that engine actually goes. They're the rules of the road. Without a strong set of principles, that huge engine of large-scale exchange, it can easily derail. And this is exactly why a strong moral compass isn't just some nice-to-have bonus in business. It's a strict structural necessity to keep the whole shebang from collapsing.
Section 2. Defining Business Ethics.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the exact phrasing. Ethics for young leaders. Notice the deliberate pairing there. It doesn't say ethics for corporate executives or ethics for retirees. It explicitly pairs the heavy, complex concept of ethics directly with youth leadership, and that implies an intense urgency. It tells us that the framework of doing business correctly isn't something you just learn after you've made it to the top. It's the very toolkit you need to get there in the first place.
So, let's combine those earlier concepts. Business ethics is simply the application of moral principles to commercial behavior and decision-making. Basically, it takes that invisible moral compass we just talked about and forces it into the real, messy world of profit margins, supply chains, and employee management. It's the essential framework for making the right choices when the pressure is really on, when money is on the line, and when the quote-unquote right choice might actually be the hardest one to make.
Which brings me to a question I really want you to think about. What does doing the right thing in business actually look like to you? Is it just, clicking through some boring HR compliance video to follow the bare minimum of the law? Or does it go deeper? Is it about treating employees fairly, protecting the environment, or making sure your product actually helps people instead of harming them? I want you to reflect on your own internal definition of ethics right now, because your personal answer to this question is exactly what our source text is trying to cultivate.
Section 3. For school students.
Business ethics for school students. Now, why is this advanced knowledge targeted at a classroom instead of a boardroom? Well, because this isn't just an academic subject. By targeting school students, the source material makes a really bold claim. Ethical foundations have to be poured before the house is built. If you wait until someone is already navigating the complex, high-stakes world of international commerce to teach them ethics, honestly, it's just too late.
And there's a very logical progression to how we absorb this as a student. First up, step 1, grasp foundational ethics. You start with the theory. Then, step 2, analyze business impacts. You start looking at how those concepts of right and wrong play out when actual money and livelihoods are involved. And finally, step 3, form a personal moral compass. This is where you solidify your own non-negotiables. Building this 3-step foundation early on, while you're still a student, is incredibly powerful because it makes ethical decision-making an absolute reflex, rather than some frantic late-in-life correction.
Section 4. Empowering young leaders.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core transformation happening within our source. We start on one side with school students who are actively learning those foundations and building awareness, but they bridge directly over to young leaders who are applying those ethics to actively shape the global market. The text isn't just treating the audience as passive students sitting there taking notes, it's projecting them into the role of active future leaders. It serves as a direct bridge right between the classroom and the global economy.
So this is the ultimate transition, going from learning business to actively practicing ethical commerce. And I want to speak directly to you right now. These abstract concepts, they're deeply personal. This isn't just theory. The transition from learning to practicing relies entirely on you taking these ethical frameworks and wielding them out there in the real world. You have an immense potential for impact here. Literally, every single ethical choice you're going to make in your future career sends a ripple out through the entire global market.
Bringing this all full circle back to our source text, Principles of Commerce, Ethics for Young Leaders. So, the crucial point is that this simple text serves as a vital blueprint for the future. It proves that the future of commerce doesn't just depend on, say, technological innovation or capital investment. It depends entirely on the moral clarity of the next generation. And it matters because a business world devoid of ethics is just a machine without a steering wheel. And this text, it's intentionally handing you that wheel.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final thought. What principles will guide your leadership? Think about it. When you're the one sitting at the table, making the decisions that affect lives, communities, and the global exchange of ideas, what invisible rules will you absolutely refuse to break? Think deeply about that. Because the future of commerce, it's eagerly waiting for your answer.